Today, I'd like to welcome to the show Senior Vice President of Media and Content for the Washington football team, the hardworking and beautiful Miss Julie Donaldson. Welcome to the show, Julie.
Thank you. What an introduction. I'm glad we can make this happen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you're just getting back from vacation, right?
I did. I managed to be out of the office for a couple of weeks. Although, if you ask me how many days, I legitimately did not look at my emails. I probably couldn't say there was one. So there's just so much work to be done as we're gearing up for the season and for training camp. But it was nice to be able to step away, kind of exhale a little bit, and hopefully get my mind right to make sure that this season coming up is just running smoothly and the great content is coming out for you guys.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. And we can appreciate that so much because since you've taken over the media team, the transparency, the access, just the look behind the curtain of the team, it's something we're not used to or accustomed to here. And I thank you so much for that because there's so many things we want to be a part of, we want to see. And I appreciate that. Like, it's 1 year, 1 year into the gig now. Like, how do you reflect on your first year with the team?
You know, someone made a joke the other day that last year at this time, I was kind of like helicoptered in and just dropped down, and it was just a mad dash. And come the end of this season, I felt like I was running a marathon at a sprint pace because that's just the demand. And we were doing so much, but we were doing 17 shows a week. I was hosting a good 10 or 11. And then you also put in their game day on top of all of that. We learned a lot. We learned what worked, what didn't. We learned what you, the fans, want to see, what you want to hear, what you want access to. And, this year it's only going to be bigger and better. So we're looking forward to it. We're putting our plans in place. The last year has been insane. I can't believe it's almost been a year. Time goes by so fast. But I'm excited to, get together with my crew as well on game day, knowing that we've already done it one season before. So hopefully it's only going to be even more in sync this upcoming year.
Oh, yeah. And would you say, what would you say was the hardest or most difficult part to adjust to with your first year with the team? Was it in the booth? Was it deciding what type of content you want? Was it like kind of the resistance that some of the fans met with some of the things going on? What was the hardest part to adjust to?
I love the fan base. And you know what, when you say the word resistance there, having been in this market for now over 10 years, like I feel like I understand the fan base a good little bit, so, being able to be sensitive to that and understanding where the complaints come from and why they're validated and being able to say, okay, we hear you. We're going to work our butts off to get it right, though. I think that is something that I could take in stride because hearing the resistance and knowing where we're going. I know that the fan base was going to soon. And if they're not, come right with us. And I listen, I hear it. Jason Wright listens, he hears it. So we're constantly in tune to the fan base, to what they're asking for, and always trying to meet them there. But the most difficult thing probably was just trying to navigate a new job with a new coaching staff during a global pandemic. The way you would normally go about your business, you couldn't do anymore. The way I would go about getting information and storylines didn't happen anymore. And it was near impossible because we were so separated, even though we were in the same building as football, from the football team and the staff and the coaches. So that just, put this big wall between what you're trying to get as information out and how you're trying to grow together and really kind of learn the team, the direction the coach wants to get into. But we did it. And that means we can do it. We can adjust and it'll only get better. So.
Yeah. And y'all are killing it. Like, y'all are completely killing it. Like, the content that we get on a regular basis, y'all are spoiling us with it. And I know as a fan base, we are a very spirited bunch, and that's a nice way to put it. It can definitely get toxic on Washington Twitter, but at the end of the day, I love how accessible you, Jason, like, you guys get back to us. You guys comment back to us. Even if you don't agree with what we're saying, you guys get back to it. It's refreshing here. It's definitely a new vibe here, especially with the rebrand and everything we got going on here. With the rebrand, are you allowed to have a preference with the rebrand? Do you have a leader in the doghouse, Julie? What do you like?
Before I took this job, before I even knew that I'd be in this position, I remember being on a couple of radio shows saying, in all honesty, I like the Washington Football Club. I'm a simple classic girl though. I think it's clean. I think it's neat. I like just saying we're Washington. So that kind of would be my preference. I like the Washington football team. I like WFT. I like the W. Is that what gets to stay? I don't think I get to stay in that, and I can't tell you where we're going or what
I'm
it's going to
sure.
be.
I'm sure you have a. I'm
Really
sure you have a
hard.
say in it, though.
I'll probably have a say in making sure that the messaging, when it does come out, goes to you folks, in the right way. But here, whatever it's going to be, we're going to get behind it. We're going to
For
rally behind
sure.
It's going to be what we're going to carry on for the next 100 years.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. We've got a lot of brilliant minds making sure we get it right. And we're taking our time. So when it will be revealed, it'll be something to celebrate.
Yeah, I'm expecting an epic rollout for the rebrand because it's taking some time, but fans need to understand that there's a process to it. There's the trademarking, there's getting uniforms and merchandise, and it's a process. And I'm patient, and whatever the name's gonna be, we will all adjust to it. Keep the product on the field right. Let's fix the merchandise because I know the merchandise, since we went to Washington football team, it can be a little dicey at times, especially for the women. I know you've seen some of that merch, Julie. I know all of it's not for you.
Look, I can't say who's all creating all this merchandise, but I have to purchase it just the same. So, I'm with you guys out there. I have to buy my stuff. So I know we want to buy stuff that's good, that we're proud to wear, and that reflects the pride that we have in this team. So I'm with you.
Okay. And you've been in the DC market now for about a decade or plus. Like, at what point in your life did you know that sports media would be something that you wanted to pursue?
Oh, I mean, early on in my career, one of my first jobs was, I knew I always wanted to do television broadcast. It was always a passion of mine since I was like, a little girl. And it was just kind of a matter of what's the right outlet for myself, my personality, my loves, my passion, because I've just always been somebody, whatever I went into, it's always been with passion. If it's not there, I'm probably not going to do a good job. I'm not going to learn, not going to grow, and I'm not going to be engaged. So
likewise,
when it came to like trying, out different things, and one of my first jobs was working down at this Miccosukee Sports Wrap, and I got to, be on the field for the Miami Dolphins and at the Marlins and going to hockey games and stuff. I said, this is it. Like, let's go, because this is cool. And I love telling the stories of the players. I love that it unites, no matter what your political view, your religious views, no matter, it unites a fan base. We get behind our colors, and it brings us together. We get to get away from reality for a few hours and just live or die by the play on the field and the guys that sacrifice so much to be there. So it kind of was always just a natural fit for me. And when I came to Washington, D.C., I quickly fell in love with it. And so I've chosen to let this be my home for the last decade, and hopefully many more to come.
All right. You're a Florida girl, right?
I am. Yeah.
What teams did you grow up rooting for?
So where I grew up in Jacksonville, it was more of a college town. So you were either UF or FSU, and you couldn't be both. So I'm a Florida Gator, orange and blue. We do the Gator Chomp. That's what we are. My older sister went to Florida State. We don't like that. We can get in plenty of, sibling rivalries over that. And I cannot root for them just if they're out there. Nope, cannot, doesn't happen. But the Jaguars came to town once I was in college, like right when I was leaving for it. So my family's all Jags fans, but I can't say I grew up being there because they weren't there when I grew up. We didn't have a pro team. And if I went to a baseball game, the closest game were the Atlanta Braves. And we'd go to plenty of games, and I love going to games. I'm actually going to try to go to some Nats games coming up because I love sitting there and I stay for the whole game. Can't leave early. That's my mentality.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's real sports passion there. And yeah, you say you're from Florida. I got a fun fact for the fans. You were Miss Florida back in the day, correct?
That I was.
And you competed in Miss USA, right?
I did.
Oh, so we have
look,
our fan base didn't know we have a supermodel. We have a renowned supermodel in our front office. Like, you tell me about that a little bit.
So, here's the thing. I can't say I was very coordinated. My older sister was an artist. She could, she plays the piano, makes her own music. She makes a living off of selling her art, a fantastic living off of it. My younger sister, she was a dance major. She went to dance school and, all these extra skills and talents that I just didn't have. I was kind of the other daughter and we didn't really excel in much, wasn't very coordinated, wasn't very graceful. But what I could do is I could talk. Go figure, I've made a living out of that. So I can walk and talk and I can keep it real. And that just kind of translated on the stage. I had to learn how to walk gracefully in heels. I had to learn how to do makeup and curl my hair, which obviously in ponytails, I'm not a fan of. I prefer the easy, low maintenance approach as best as I can. And I just think that resonated. I wasn't afraid to be myself. I wasn't afraid to put myself out there for others to judge and criticize, and because I knew whose opinions mattered in my life. And I just think that translated. And, I didn't do many. If I did 6 pageants, I won 5 of them. So,
Okay.
it just was one thing. You kind of just kept going on. So yeah, it's back in the day when I was a young buck.
Hey, it sounds like they modeled Miss Congeniality after you, Julie. I got a couple more for you, and I'm gonna let you go. I know you're a busy person right now, especially with camp gearing up. Do you feel any pressure being one of the first women in the booth and in such a high position in such a men-driven league? Like, do you feel the pressure of having to succeed, or is it just something that you embraced when you accepted the position?
I suppose there can and there is pressure because first off, I'm always the one probably putting more pressure and higher expectations on myself than anybody, and I'm probably harder on myself than anyone out there. And I hear their critiques. That's okay. I can take it. But the big thing is by being the first and still being the only in the NFL to have this position as a female, you want to make sure that those that are watching don't sit there and say, oh, she's only there because she's a woman. She's there because she's knowledgeable. She's there because she knows this team. She's there because she earned the right to be there. That's Absolutely. Where the pressure comes. And that way you're setting the stage up for somebody else to be there as well. I really get jazzed when I have young women that'll reach out to me and say, oh my goodness, I heard your voice on the radio and I never thought that was possible, something that I could do. And you're there every Sunday, not just there for one special moment, which is what women do. Usually they come in and they exit, and you're seeing more women that are calling games as well. And that opens up doors for women that are smart, that know the game, that work their butts off to be able to have those opportunities. So yeah, I imagine there's a little bit of pressure, but it's pressure for me to make sure I'm giving you guys, the fans, the best content. I think that's the most for me, making sure we give you the stuff that you need, that you want, and that entertains you on game day.
All right, and we love you for it. Camp is starting in 2 weeks. What is the mood around Ashburn right now? And is Fitzpatrick going to be the guy who lasts the full season and brings a whole different swagger and demeanor to what we're putting on the field this year?
Well, he hasn't lasted the full seasons before, although last year he was pulled not because of his play on the field, but because Miami wanted to see what Tua was able to do since they spent, that first round draft pick on him. So, Fitzpatrick came here because he will have the opportunity to play. He comes in, being that savvy vet. We really like the excitement that Taylor Heineke brings, that Kyle Allen has out there as he's coming back from an injury. So coach is going to take a good hard look, but I do believe it's going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick's job to lose. It's going to be his to go out there. Could we get some creativity maybe and bring the other guys in potentially? I don't know. We'll see. Camp will determine a lot of that on how far and how much, these other QBs in here have the ability to do things. But it's exciting. And you know what? I'm thrilled. There are so many more options on offense as well this year than we've had in the past. Terry McLaurin is going to have that assistance out there to be able to light things up, to be able to have Curtis Samuel addition, Adam Humphries, Deami Brown, to be able to see what they can do. Antonio Gibson, JD McKissick, there's options. Logan Thomas, there's options out there. And the cool thing about Ryan Fitzpatrick is he's going to be able to spread the ball around and give the guys their chances. All they got to do is be in the right place and make the play. So I'm excited to see where this offense goes next year.
I'm excited too. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid and I'm genuinely optimistic about the team, but I'm gonna let you get out of here. Is there anything you want to plug or anything you want the fans to know that's coming? You're going to be in Richmond in a couple of weeks, right?
I know. I'm so excited to go to Richmond. I kind of like the getting out of your norm and kind of just that whole camp vibe and feel, to me, it kind of gets you in the right mindset for the season. I'm
Absolutely.
excited to be able to see fans down there. I've been down there many years covering this team, doing shows. And so looking forward to that. Come out, say hi. And throughout the season, man, we're putting together some great programming, some great shows, reimagining things again. So stay tuned because a lot of great content. If you liked what we were produced last year, it's only going to be better this year coming up. So just stay with us. Find us wherever you get any content: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, NBC Sports Washington, the radio game day. We're there, folks. There's no excuse to not be up to date on this team from what we're putting out.
Absolutely. And that's going to conclude today's episode. I'll be in Richmond too, by the way. I'll be out there Wednesday through Saturday. So I'm looking forward to meet you and talk in person. And that's going to conclude today's episode of the Rambling About Washington podcast. Until next time, hail to the nameless football team. Deuces.